Today on Eagle Nation News, Haley Brown looks into the verdict of the Frisco gunman's crimes and what effect it's had on the Frisco community.
Ryan Wortham highlights the film trip to Seattle that some students here at PHS went on.
And Haley Brown will also be here in studio with some shocking news. Eagle Nation News starts
right now.
Good afternoon, Prosper High School. Today is Thursday, April 4th. I'm Casey Boston.
And I'm Braden Brandvold.
Beats headphones by Dr. Dre have announced their latest product, wireless earbuds. Like Apple, the company has decided to ditch the wires and make them more usable for the gym. The Powerbeats Pro will sell for about $250 more than Apple's AirPods.
Yesterday, ICE arrested 280 employees of a locally based telecommunication repair company. Immigrant agents claim to have received numerous tips that there were illegal workers working inside of the factory. ICE claims that many of these workers were hired on fraudulent identification documents.
Last week, there was a shooting just one town away in Frisco, Texas.
Haley Brown investigates what the verdict is and how this event has had an effect on the community.
This past Friday evening, residents of the La Valencia apartments in Frisco heard gunshots from behind closed doors as they waited for what felt like the longest 15 hours of their lives, knowing a gunman was on the loose. When being pulled over escalated to a shooting and a wounded officer, the La Valencia apartments in Frisco became a crime scene that was barricaded to the outside world. Residents were locked in their homes as law enforcement tracked down the gunman that relentlessly let off shots with no regards to the real aftermath it would have.
Like firecrackers, because you wouldn't think like shooting happening right now, you know? And then the third shot, I'm like, wow, this is a real shot. And boom, two more go off. I'm like, oh my God, shooting. So I close the door, prepare to die, I guess. Like getting ready to fight. Because you hear about these stories about people getting shot and like they're running, you know, but like, that's not gonna be me. Like, I'm gonna fight, you know.
The suspected shooter, Brian Cahill, was arrested 15 hours after the incident arose, and his neighbor explains how unsuspecting he was that his safety was compromised.
I went to look out my window. There's a dude with a gun. I ran back and grabbed my phone and recorded what I could. I mean, I'm playing video games, shooting people, and then all of a sudden, there's a bunch of shots right outside my...
The shooting required the attention of not only the Frisco PD, but neighboring law enforcement as well as the Texas DPS and the FBI. With the assistance of law enforcement, residents in their apartments were evacuated by police and no other residents were let back in during the time of the shooting. The suspected shooter has been identified as 42-year-old Brian Cahill, and behind me is the apartment that he lived in. As you can see, this is also where the shots were fired, and Cahill is currently being held in the Collin County Jail on a $500,000 bond. Reporting for Eagle Nation News, I'm Haley Brown.
Last Wednesday through this Sunday, Eagle Nation News and Eagle Production Group students traveled to Seattle for a film and television convention. Ryan Wortham will have the highlights after this quick commercial break.
Now we send it to Ryan Wortham to recap the Seattle trip.
Smile. Wave. Me? Yeah, wave, yeah. Ow, I just hit my glasses. Ow. Christina.
We'll be right back with your Eagle update after this.
NTHS is a new honor society for CTE students. If you are interested in applying, please come to one of the 3 mandatory meetings. If you are interested in joining the 2019-2020 Prosper Color Guard, please visit prosperband.com. If you are interested in becoming an officer for Best Buddies next school year, please see Ms. Gomez in room 1110. Come see To See the Stars, presented by Prosper Eagle Theater Company.
Now let's send it to Haley Brown in studio with your Eagle update.
Take a look around you and look at your peers sitting in your classroom right now. Chances are at least one of them has vaped before. Now, we've talked about the health risks that are accompanied with vaping before, but the FDA has recently announced a possible correlation between e-cigs and seizures. The warning did not deliver any direct results, but was sharing a warning in attempt to alert the public to the investigation and the potential safety risks of vaping. The 35 FDA cases use reports from the agency to the poison control centers. The case explains that there is no definite pattern, but seizures have been reported in both the first time and experienced vapors have occurred after just 2 days, after a few puffs up to a day after use. Please take precaution and be aware of the side effects that come along with vaping. Well, that's all the time I have for you today. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Eagle Nation News and check out our website, eaglenation.net, to watch previous episodes. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Haley. Now let's take a look at the meeting schedule for the week.
Well, that's all the time we have for you today. For Eagle Nation News, I'm Braden Brandvold.
I'm Haley Brown.
And I'm Casey Boston. Live long and prosper.